Throughout your career as a boxing trainer, you've trained many of Australia's boxing icons. What inspired you to pursue a career in boxing?
Oh, it goes back when I was a very young kid, and I used to live not far from old Snowy Robbins' boxing gym in Erskineville. And every now and again, I'd go up and I'd see the guys sparring and training, and it was something that I enjoyed. And a few hundred yards up the road, after I started to do a bit with the Newtown Police Boys Club, and it all went many years ago to where I am today.
Fantastic. So something that you didn't know you wanted to do until you fell into it.
Oh, look, at 14, I knew I wanted to try, and that's what I did.
So over the years as a coach, what do you think uh, happened which developed your unique training style? How would you describe that?
Oh, look, I used to go to the stadium as a young kid, and I'd see so many times our guys going good and be swallowed up by the ensuing last rounds. And I couldn't understand why we couldn't hack it, and why that fatigue always seemed to come in. But anyhow, when I train fighters, I always wanted my fighters to be definitely fitter than their opponents.
You mentioned you were down at the Newtown PC or the police station, and I did some research before, and I saw you were a part of the Young Offenders Program.
Oh yes,
Where
yeah.
I thought that was so interesting, where you actually took them to spar the inmates. What made you think of that, and what was the effect of that program on your fighters?
Well, I grew up in an area, and some of us were lucky, some of them were unlucky, and I seen quite a few of them be institutionalised, and I always knew that they were better people than to be locked away. I don't find that as the certainly for some, but not for everyone. And a lot of them at young age were in boys' homes, and later on in the prison system. But um, they were really too good to be in that. Like, little mistakes,
And they weren't given a chance. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, in your opinion, what are the key qualities which distinguish a truly exceptional fighter versus just someone who rocks up to the gym?
Um, yeah, there's one word I think. Without it, there are a lot of words that are gonna bring you together in your career, but for me, the main word is discipline in all walks of life.
And that's the main attribute of the
Oh well, yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. Oh no, discipline. It takes you a while to see, you know, that someone can come and do something one night. That doesn't mean they're going to do it for the next month, and yeah, so you look for it, and as I say, it is, to me, the real meaning of success.
You trained with Ricky Coloso.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
how'd you cross paths with him?
Yeah, well, it goes back to a family. I was training a young kid, Aaron Nabel, a beautiful boxer and a good puncher. And it was, I'd met his dad through Bob Fulton, the Australian coach. We did a bit of work together, and Dave Nabel, he's such a wonderful man, and he spoke in glowing terms of Ricky, and it was through Dave I met Ricky, and the words that Dave said about him was so true. Ricky's a very gifted young man, and I think Ricky, there was a lot more for him in the fight game, but I think he had other interests and whatever. But uh, he was very good, very good. And I think Justin Rousell, one of the best boxers that I ever trained, spent a lot of time with Ricky, and he developed really good.
What did you see that was really special about Ricky?
Um, I think he had it all. I look back. I think his career was a bit stop-start for one reason or another. But every time that Ricky was getting ready for a fight, he trained, and he was he gave himself every chance of success by um, putting in so much.
And through your time with him, how do you think his fighting style evolved?
Well, I think he just, as I said, he had it all, but he didn't. He didn't have the fights. I don't know why not on that, but it's, as I said, stop start. I don't know why that was, because um, he had good trainers, and he certainly brought a lot to the ring. Very like gifted, very gifted.
So going back to when you were talking about those last few rounds, apart from the physical aspect, which is extremely important for fighting, how do you help your fighters develop mentally when things are tough and when the pressure's really high? How do you keep them focused?
Yeah, look, sometimes the mental strength is more valuable than the physical strength. And, there's certain stages in a fight where you might have had a bit of a disappointment in one round. When you come back, well, you've got to search for the right things to say to get them back up, and get them back on the front foot and steal the next round, and then we're back to where we were prior to the bad round we had. You've got to be able to read the fights as well, and know what to bring into play, and whatever.
Yes, you spent so much time with fighters, and it's often coined that the dynamic between the fighter and the coach is one of the most important dynamics in the sport. So, how do you establish trust and rapport with your fighters? And how do you think that impacts their actual performance?
Yeah, look, it it's like looking after your young fella at home. You bring them up to a way that they love and respect their parents, and but the biggest thing in our life is, if we're in a partnership, is trust. And there's things happen in the gym. You're there every day. You're in there 7 days a week with your fighters, and if they can't trust you, then, well, they might as well move on. You earn your trust.
I watched the interview in preparation for this, did last year, and you were talking about the Jeff Horn and Manny Pacquiao fight, and how if Jeff had won that, then that could push boxing back to the glory days again. I saw he won the fight. Do you think since then, 2017, um, boxing has gone more towards those glory days, or how do you think it's changed?
Yeah, look, we've got some good boxers, but I don't know. You know, for me, I was fortunate when boxing was, well, no doubt, you go back to the 40s, and they say it was a really good time. They were hungry. The fighters were hungry for success. I can go back to the 50s at the stadium, and they were what they did. They had fights every week. Every Monday night there was fights, and I think it was in the 70s that it tapered off, and a lot of uh, the blame on that was um, television, and you know, people didn't want to go out on a Monday night in winter because they could sit down in front of the heater at home and watch a movie or whatever. But it was very, very good there. But we do get a fighter now and again that can uh, hack it in any era. The one person that I really know could hack it in any era was Jeff Fennick, and I, I I think no matter what era, uh, what decade of boxing, that Jeff would have been um, had enough to be right up there as a number one. He was, but he really did put a lot into his training. And yeah, he's disciplined for fighting. Sorry.
Things that people didn't see.
Oh yeah. But when you see someone that can virtually fight, Jeff was one of the last that fought the 15 round eras, and to see Jeff come home against really classy fighters over them last rounds and eventually stop them. And, they brought the 12 rounds in, but he just done the same thing there. I don't think there's ever been a better, fitter and more confident fighter than Jeff Fennick.
Are you seeing any emerging talents that kind of resemble Jeff Finnick or
No,
fighters back
no, I
then?
don't. No.
You don't?
There's no, not at all.
Yeah.
I think they all come a different second to him.
What do you think are Australia's strengths in boxing compared to the rest of the world?
Well, every fighter's an individual. They all bring something different to the table, and we've got a few that are developing, and I think that I really like watching Jai Opatia. For a young bloke, what he done as an amateur and carried that into the professional ranks, mate, he's class. But we're not seeing him. We're not seeing him. That he should be on our screens every fight. But anyhow, I think that's changing, hopefully. But I love watching him.
How important do you think grassroots boxing is?
Look, it's getting hard here, and with that, it might bring the fight game up. A hungry fighter's a good fighter, and there are so many other ways to earn money than boxing. And but now that we find ourselves, it's tough times, and I'm sure that like in the old days, it'd be coming along for Christmas, and a man would be working on wages, and they weren't real good, and to get some presents or have a nice Christmas dinner, the father would go and have a couple of fights in November and December so he could buy the kids a bicycle and put a big turkey on the table at Christmas time. But the way we're going, those times are coming back and coming back rapidly.
What do you see the importance is of promotion companies such as Wanderer Promotions in actually helping grassroots boxing and supporting that?
Yeah, well, the promoters have got a big role to play if we're going to have a resurgence. And there's too many fighters that can't get a fight, that can fight. And look, if we can get more promoters into the sport, I think it'll help the industry, boxing industry. You can get someone that can start, and in due time, if they put on the good fights, match them up like you never can say that one won't get knocked out or anything. Oh, that's boxing. But if you do it and you put it in with both fighters have got a chance, well, that's what we want to see. Yeah,
I guess with the matchmaking too, from that other interview I did watch, there was a guy, Norm Foster,
yeah,
in Melbourne,
yeah,
and he did have a background in boxing too because
yeah.
he used to fight.
From Melbourne.
From Melbourne, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So similar, given Ricky's experience as a ex-boxer, how do you think he'll go in the game of promotions?
Oh, look, Ricky's a good young man, and he never stayed in the sport too long. He thinks good. He's a fair young kid. He's been brought up well. I'm very, very happy that he's having a go.
Yeah.
I think he will be a big success. I really do. If he can get some good sponsors behind him and put on the best fights available, I think he could be a big name in Australian boxing.
What's the importance, I guess, or the difference between promotion that's put on by someone who hasn't had any boxing experience as an actual fighter versus someone who has?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, once again, they all look for a matchmaker, because there's um, they're promoting the fight, but it's uh, if they haven't got the knowledge, well, certainly got to get someone that can uh, match accordingly. Um, there's been a few fights late that red corner can fight and blue corner can't. So I think we've got to stop that before a fatality comes. And you look at a bloke's record, and if he's just there for fodder and he's getting beat, his record's not got too good, he's got to retire. You don't want to see anyone hurt.